I was pretty excited when I saw that Fender was going to release another Tom DeLonge Stratocaster. Although I am a left-handed guitar player and I had a pretty good feeling that they just were not going to release it left-handed. And of course, on announcement day, no lefties to be found. I was also pretty bummed when the Adam Jones Les Paul never came out in a lefty, even after a few years. So I know that there is no hope for a left-handed Tom DeLonge Strat. But the difference between a Stratocaster and a Les Paul is it is a lot easier to make my own Stratocaster. Maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm creative, maybe I'm both. So here's the plan. I'm going to strip this Stratocaster and I'm going to paint it surf green. I already have a blue guitar, I already have a black guitar, and don't really want a banana yellow guitar. So surf green is my only option here, realistically. I've ordered nitrocellulose lacquer from Solo Guitars, a custom left-handed pick guard from Warmouth, and I have this Squire Stratocaster that I don't mind having some fun with. I'm going to put a single Seymour Duncan Invader in the bridge here with a volume knob that I had to special order, left-handed taper, you know. The struggle is real. What's the worst that could happen?
It's either going to be super cool or it might be a disaster, but it's going to be fun either way.
It's not going to be a disaster, I got this.
Okay.
It's a $200 guitar.
Yeah, I will say it's going to look better I think when you're done with it than it does now. Plus, I think it's going to sound better.
Because of the pickup.
Because of the pickup, and because you can't buy a left-handed Tom DeLonge, you're going to be maybe the only one in the world that has a left-handed one.
But I think it's going to take me like 20 minutes with a heat gun and a plastic spudger and just peel all the paint off.
What about the whole project?
Oh, a few weeks, a couple of weeks, probably. Oh, I need to do a sound test.
Yes.
The internet told me that all I had to do was hit it with a heat gun and it'd peel right off. That's just not the case. Sanding it, man, that's just gonna take way too long. I do have to count my labor. As with any project, I wonder if it's worth it just to buy a left-handed body from Warmouth. Alright, I was failing with the heat gun, so I decided, screw it, I'll try the sander. That's gonna take just as long, if not longer, and make a huge mess. This is how far I've gotten in, I don't know, maybe about an hour. You can see the spot that I sanded here, and then this is all areas that I used the heat gun. It's actually mostly, you know, cleared off right through here. A little bit of sandpaper will make that look a lot nicer. Obviously I'll have to do pore filler and all of that, especially now. It's getting pretty rough. This is the process, I think. I've given it some more thought, and I think a Warmouth body is kind of cheating. Mainly because they're so expensive, and you know, I haven't really stated it, but the point of this is to try to keep it relatively inexpensive. I certainly don't want custom shop prices, but I'm far from that even if I bought a Warmouth body. But after shipping, you know, I was gonna pay like $250, and that just didn't seem right. That's more than I paid for the Squire. Whew, all right, well, I have the front sanded, the back sanded. All that's left now is for me to do the hardest part, which is everything that's on the sides. but I think it's getting there. Definitely going to have to do some pore filler on this. Whatever wood they used, it's pretty nasty. We're getting there. There's not a whole lot left, just the hardest part. I'm crazy. Why am I doing this? No sane person would do this. They'd just be like, well, it looks like I'm not gonna own that guitar. Not me. I get something in my stupid head and I just have to do it. I completely disassembled a perfectly working guitar. Not bad. I probably spent maybe 4 or 5 hours getting this far. Let's see how long it takes me to do the rest. Can't wait to play this thing though. Don't try this at home. Can't be that professional. I did this whole thing with my AirPod in my ear. Check this out. Isn't that pretty neat? Now, I did have to do some wood filler in a few spots. First of all, they used a very cheap wood on this. Second of all, I applied a lot of heat, so that cheap wood just didn't handle the heat very well. You can see where this veneer ends in some places, and I had to sort of massage it back just to, I don't know, make it appear smooth. So the next step is to sand this down and put some sanding sealer on it and sand it again, and probably some more sanding sealer and more sanding, and then after that start with the paint and more sanding and paint and more sanding, and you know, put the clear coat lacquer on it with more sanding, and so on and so forth until it looks like a surf green Tom DeLonge Stratocaster. I'm not 100% sure I'll ever do this again with a poly finish. I don't really recommend anybody taking on this kind of a project unless they really want to do it and they have a lot of patience. I put some sanding sealer on it. Once that dries, I'll sand it down and see if I need some more. But for now, I'll just let it hang. All right, here's our products. If anybody's curious, I'm using Oxford. I actually bought it through Solo Guitars in Canada. Oxford is also a Canadian company. That's the clear gloss finish, but over here we have the surf green. That's what color we're going for. And the custom ordered pick guard because, well, I'm a lefty, so I can't just straight up buy a right-handed one. That's from Warmouth. A knurled knob and a reverse taper pot, and the coolest name for a pickup in the history of pickups, Invader. It's like if Darth Vader made music. On top of this guitar was a terrible veneer. You can kind of see the veneer line right there. I had another spot bubble up and pop through, so as I was putting on sanding sealer, I had to put more putty in. Fun times. Done a good bit of sanding. More than anything really is sanding the damn thing. I put a bunch of sanding sealer on it, a few coats. More of the veneer came off, so I had to put more putty on. That's drying now, so I'm done for the day. Once that putty's dried up, I'll hit it with some more sanding sealer and sand it some more. After that, I can finally hit it with color. So I'm hoping tomorrow, before it gets too hot, I can get the first coat of color on. We'll see. So I just realized I didn't hit record, but I did the tack coat. It's not too bad. Yeah, I'm doing this outside. It's all I have. I don't have a ventilated tent. This is the best I got. This stuff dries pretty quick, so I'm gonna put a couple of coats on this and see if I need to sand any imperfections, runs, dirt, dust, leaves, bugs, whatever gets in there. Let's get rocking. I very much wish I had done this with a new guitar body, but I'm committed to reusing this old Squire. Now, I've already documented all of the putty that I had to put on this thing because the veneer was peeling off. Well, now I see, you're not gonna be able to see this, but I see on the back spots where more veneer is peeling off. It just is what it is. It's just going to be a relict guitar quicker than I had anticipated because chunks of the paint are going to fall off and this veneer chips off. This is my only option if I want a left-handed Tom DeLonge, right? It'll look relict. People like relict guitars, right? That's it. This guitar is relicking itself. Perfect solution. All right, it's time for the Clear Gloss Vintage Formula Nitrocellulose Lacquer. It's a long name. I'm not really gonna film this because it's just spraying lacquer on a guitar. I don't really find it that interesting. And plus, it's a little scary getting the overspray on my camera and microphone and all that kind of stuff. I lost my sunglasses. I didn't really lose them, they're in my truck, and I don't feel like getting them, so I'll just have to look at the lens instead of the screen. There's a good chance you can hear my chickens. So, I got all the clear coat done yesterday. I've already done some wet sanding at 1000 grit. Look, I'm doing this in between my life, my normal everyday life. I can't film every bit of it. This isn't an instructional video. This is just me kind of documenting my process. So I'll get a few shots of me doing some wet sanding of this guitar body, and we'll just kind of see how it ends up looking. Hopefully it shines up pretty. Well, here it is. I'll get some beauty shots once it's fully assembled. I doubt I'll record any of that because you can go online and find plenty of videos of people putting together guitars and soldering the electronics. And plus I kind of want to focus on doing it right. I have limited workspace. There are a lot of excuses. Maybe I'll get a couple of shots. Once it's fully assembled, I'll get some beauty shots. I'm not super happy with how it turned out, but most of that is the veneer's fault. Well, the guitar is done. Time for a retrospective. Well, all in, I have about 500 bucks. I'd say that's not bad. The new Tom DeLonge Strat is, what, 1300, I think? So that's good. Although I had an awful lot of anxiety about the guitar body and the veneer. There's an awful lot of bubbles all over the place. There's not much I can do about it at this point. I was committed. I did buy a second guitar body. I could always paint that one, swap everything over to it, I suppose. But I think I'm just gonna live with it. And if big chunks end up breaking off, hey look, the guitar is relicking itself, so there's nothing wrong with that, right? People like relic guitars, I like relic guitars, it's up for debate. I get it, some people just absolutely hate it. I think they look pretty cool. So here's the breakdown. I spent about $200 on the guitar, $50 for the pick guard, $100 for the pickup, we'll say 10 bucks for the knob and potentiometer, $100 for paint. I don't know, it's somewhere right around $500. $500 is not that bad for a really cool looking guitar that nobody has. I mean, I'm sure someone else out there has made a left-handed Tom DeLonge signature Strat, but I haven't seen it. The thing absolutely shreds though. This is my first video where I played and recorded it and put it on the internet, so I was pretty self-conscious about that. I didn't play a lot, but you get the idea of what it sounded like. Everybody knows what a classic vibe Squire sounds like. So I didn't really record a lot for the before sound. Here's a classic vibe Strat through a Hot Rod Deluxe. What more do you need, right? I love playing this guitar. It sounds amazing. Now the real debate, should I add a little more relicking myself? I could get some canned air, you know, like the blower stuff, the duster, and just hit it. Check it all over the place. I'm sure chunks will pop off where the veneer was. I'm kind of addicted to making guitars, to be honest with you. It's really, really fun. I just want to keep doing it. I want to do another one now. I like working on guitars. I like making guitars. I like painting guitars. Was it worth it? I don't know, that's a tough question. It was worth it to me because I had something to do for a week. I have $500 less in my pocket, but I have a really cool guitar to show for it. Yeah, I think it was worth it. I absolutely think it was worth it. 100% worth it.